The question number 2 that we're going to address is the idea of, hi, I struggle with taking rest days and I struggle with taking time from working out. And so obviously this is a split road. There's a lot of people out there that they struggle to get to the gym. They struggle to be motivated and go do the thing. If you're a fitness fanatic, if you're really into, fitness in the gym for whatever reason, if the gym is life, the gym is bae, there's a lot of people, especially I would say in the high intensity communities, whether that's Peloton, spin class, CrossFit, Orange Theory, there's a large community and a large population of people that they really struggle with this hashtag no rest days, more equals better. If I can go to the gym and do more, well, I can make more progress. Excuse me, progress. I can make more
Illinois.
Progress. I can get bags. I wonder how many people would get that reference. We're just going to leave that there. Bags. But yeah, how many people are struggling with the opposite problem of, well, actually taking rest days gives me anxiety. And what is a rest day? Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, the meme where it's like Pablo Escobar and he's like sitting on a swing and he's all alone and sad. But like, truly, it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, the gym is what I do. So like, what am I supposed to do with that? So I kind of wanted to start with just how this anxiety and this issue of being terrified to take rest days started for me personally. And so I found CrossFit in 2012 when I was in college. And so the gym that I joined, everybody, no joke, was stage ready. Like everybody was so shredded, so strong, like such tremendous athletes. And the reason for that, now I understand it. Anybody that's from a college town, there's not much to do other than drink and party or work out. So like, that's why, like, if you talk about like Columbus, Ohio, there's really tremendous gyms for powerlifting and strength training and all that.
Gym tan laundry, like Jersey Shore.
100. Like there's nothing to do. So you go one of two ways. You go the Jersey Shore party way, or you go the I'm a just lift and be the best athlete I can be, or whatever it is. And so at this gym that I was at, everybody was just so strong, so shredded. Everybody was working out 5 to 6 days a week. Like that was just the culture of kind of like do the most. And so in my brain, here I was little shrimpy Laurie. Again, I was 92, 93 pounds when I found CrossFit. And so in my head, the story or the narrative that I kind of built for myself was, well, if I just start doing more, I can catch up to everybody. If I just work out, it's like I started and it was like I would go to class 5 days a week. And then slowly 5 days became 6 days. And I don't think at that time I was doing 7 days a week. But our gym, it's like they had a class Monday through Friday. And then Saturday was always like a fun partner workout. And obviously it's like, if you're in a CrossFit gym, like Saturdays is the party, it's the fiesta, like you go and, have fun with your friends and stuff. So there I was, working out 6 days a week. And so same thing, it was like, I would take the class workout, but then came the weakness work. And then came, oh, well, I really want to get kipping pull-ups, or, oh, I want to figure out this muscle up thing, or, oh, I can clean and jerk really well, but my snatch sucks really bad. So I'll just stay and I'll do a little extra work. And so this progression from, okay, you're working out 4 to 5 days a week for an hour became, okay, I'm working out 5 to 6 days a week and I'm adding on, 30 minutes, 60 minutes,
all
90
the
minutes
extra stuff. Yeah.
And it was again from this place like, oh, well, I suck at it, so I need to get better at it. So of course, if I want to get better and be my best athlete, like I have to do the most. And so over time, how that extrapolated out, especially as I got into competitive CrossFit and I realized, oh, like I'm actually really good at this thing. I was coming from a competitive gymnastic background. So I had that. I was marathon training before CrossFit. So I would dust you in any sort of like Nancy, any sort of workout that had, running and the thing. And so I was really good at gymnastics. I was really good at cardio and conditioning. And I've always been the person, because I came from a gymnastics background, my overhead lifts were tremendous. And I have really, really great body awareness. And so I had really, really high 1 rep maxes. And so I was just like a really great CrossFit athlete, kind of right out the gate. And so as I got into competitive CrossFit, it became this spiral over time that I would drag myself to the gym no matter how much sleep I did or didn't get. I was working out 5 to 6 days a week. And, it didn't matter how sore I was. It didn't matter if I was sick. I was definitely that person. I again, want to punch myself in the face, but it'd be like, I'd be at the gym, like hacking up a lung and still like doing the most and lifting. Right. So it didn't matter how I felt. Again, I created this narrative of, I just want to be the best athlete I can be. I want to see what I'm made of. And so it doesn't matter how I feel. Like, fuck your feelings, right? It's like I would go to the gym no matter what. There, again, it was hashtag no rest days. It was hashtag no excuses. Try harder. Put on your big girl pants. So like whatever toxic narrative that was, like I was all aboard the ship. And so same thing. A really common one was if I missed going to the gym due to travel, work, family stuff, whatever it was, I would go to the gym and I would double up on workout sessions, and I would make up whatever it is I missed. So like, let's say I was gone Monday and Tuesday and it's now Wednesday. Well, I would go do the workouts from Wednesday. And then at the end, I would go do the workouts from Monday, and I would go do the stuff from Tuesday. And so even if it meant being at the gym, for hours and hours and hours on end, like,
did you have a life? Like, did you have a social life at all?
I mean, I think I was so deep in like the CrossFit Kool-Aid that, again, it's like when you realize, oh, I'm very natural at this and this comes so easy to me and this doesn't come to other people. And so I think in my brain, again, it was like, you would be doing yourself a disservice to not see what you're made of and not figure out, what's going on there. So, fast forward over time, again, years and years later, well, here I am competing at CrossFit regionals, which is, something that most people aspire to do, right? It's like, that was the bar. It's like, well, yeah, the games, obviously, but like regionals was a big deal. And so we were training again, like you got to do the most. So we were training a lot. And so we competed at regionals in 2016. I got drafted to a CrossFit gym the next year. And that gym was full of games athletes. Like I was the worst athlete in the room. But in my head, it was like, well, listen, if I just want to compete one more time and then I need to like go be an adult and like make money and have a retirement and do stuff like that. Right. But it was like in my head, okay, competing at regionals was so freaking cool. I just want to do it one more time and then I'm going to retire. I'm out, peace. And so I got drafted to a gym where everybody, like quite literally, the girls could snatch what I could clean and jerk, right? So what better place to be at to level up? Because again, it's like you become who you're around, right? And so the reality of the situation is we worked out 7 days a week. There were 2 days a week that were a little bit lighter. It was like, I think they would be like track workouts, and then there would be some swimming and gymnastic skill work. But like you call a spade, we worked out 7 days a week, and it was a very toxic environment. And so thankfully, it's like I tore my shoulder, and then that's when, my life.
I was going to say, what kind of
change.
effects did it had on your body to train at that amount?
Dumpster fire. And I want to back up too. It's like, for me, again, like the big things I was scared of, because a lot of this came from that place of fear and that place of being scared. And so I was so terrified of seeing the number on the scale go up. I was so terrified of missing workouts, because in my brain, again, that meant, oh, I'm going to lose my abs. Oh, I'm going to lose progress. Oh, I'm like literally. And again, it's like, I just like wish I could hug a little younger Laurie, but it's like in my brain, I really thought no, like full stop, no bullshit. I really thought that if I missed a workout, that I was going to like lose my gains. My lifts were going to go down.
Yeah.
I'd like lose all my strength. And it comes from lack of education and understanding, right? Like that's the thing I now have. And I can look back and have grace for myself. But so to answer your question, it's like the breaking point for me was I had shoulder surgery in 2017. And same thing, it's like this is something that I dealt with the repercussions of for so long afterwards. But in my brain, I just want to compete one last time, and the timeline for
You
it
weren't
was
thinking about the long term.
No, God, no.
Yeah.
So the carrot that was dangling in front of me was, okay, like I completely tore my shoulder. I had surgery the next week. And if you looked at a calendar, quite literally, the recovery timeline, I wouldn't have been able to put up and do like the open workouts, but it didn't matter for CrossFit. For CrossFit, it just mattered of who are we sending, to regionals. And so I had this carrot dangling in front of me that, hey, if you get shoulder surgery and you can freaking rehab and recover, you could still be competing on that regional floor later this year. And that's where I fucked up. Like truly, because here I had surgery. I think it was a Tuesday. I don't know why that's oddly specific that I remember, but I had surgery on a Tuesday. And I like, honest to God, breaks my heart. By Friday, I was in a sling on the assault bike, like back at the gym and starting to do things. The breaking point for me was I had just gotten groceries at HEB and I had just gotten into my car and every bone in me was tired. Every woman in me was tired. I was emotionally exhausted, physically exhausted, mentally exhausted. Like I could not fathom going to the gym that day. And I just bawled, like literally broke down. It is like 11 a.m. in the morning and I'm bawling in the HEB parking lot in my car because my teammates were basically texting me asking, hey, where are you? Like we're trying to get started. Like when you showing up or like everything okay? And so that was the big kind of aha moment of LCK, like we got to do something different because this ain't working anymore. And so, fast forward to now, what I know and what I understand is that ultimately the fitness industry profits so much off of our insecurities, our self-doubt, our lack of fitness education. And like recovery and rest days are the secret sauce to adaptation. Like if you are trying to be the best athlete you can be, if you're trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to lose body fat, whatever it is that you're doing, we need regular rest days to rest, to relax, to recover, recharge. The analogy I've gotten in the habit of using over the past few years is that rest days are like putting gas in the tank. Deload weeks during programming are kind of like oil changes for the body. We need both on a regular basis to keep
I
the
love
car,
that analogy.
aka you,
Yeah, the oil change.
moving, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, right, it's like we would never try to drive our car on empty. And yet so many of us, fall in the habit of asking our body to do that same thing. And so, for me, you can't get better in the same place that made you sick, right? Even at that point, like I understood, there's no way I'm gonna find a better relationship with the gym, with exercise, obviously with my body. Like we ain't finding it here. And so I understood it was like, yo, I gotta change my environment. I gotta get out of here. And it's like if nothing changes, nothing changes. And so at the end of the day, everybody in that gym was amazing. They're amazing people, but it just wasn't something that was serving me any longer. And I understood I had to put myself in a position to succeed. And so I immediately switched gyms. I hired a one-on-one coach, which is now ironically my business partner, Brian Borstein. But initially back then, I hired him to just hold me accountable. And so I knew that this wasn't something that I could go out alone. And so I knew that I needed somebody to lean on during the days that it got hard, during the days that I couldn't do it myself, but also just to kind of like pass off some of that burden and just again, have somebody that could be my cheerleader and have somebody that could be that voice of reason when I'm mentally spiraling,
Or
or
just
when,
call your ass
again,
out, right?
yeah,
Like,
no,
like
again, 100%,
you're
like,
gonna sit in your car
and he
and try
did.
to pep talk yourself again, or what? Like,
Totally.
go
And
home.
so, in addition to that, I hired Brian, I hired a one-on-one coach for myself. I changed gyms. The two biggest things I did in addition to that were I took up a journaling practice. And so anything that was bothering me, or anytime I was starting to like have a spiral, I was getting on the hamster wheel of doom, I would force myself to sit down. I'd open, pen to paper and just get my feelings out, like word vomit, and no judgment, right? It's like I would just quite literally write down whatever was on my mind, whatever I was thinking, get it physically and metaphorically, like take that backpack of burden off of my back, and then be able to, again, it's like when we unload like that, well, then we can kind of come back in a more reasonable headspace and be able to look at things from a little better place. Then again, kind of like even we were talking about with the scale stuff, can be so easy to respond emotionally rather than, a little more
Yeah.
neutrally. But most importantly, for sure, and this is something that, again, I wish I had done sooner, was I hired a licensed therapist. I started going to counseling regularly. And that was something that friends were telling me for years and years. It's like I spent so many years in a abusive and unhealthy relationship during college, especially as a kid. I just endured a lot of trauma, a lot of things that you hope, most people don't have to go through in life. And so for me, it was like this Diet Coke and Mentos, where it was like, for me, everything just went under the rug, under the rug, under the rug. There's no problems. We don't have, emotional, breakdowns about stuff. It's like, for the most part, everything would be like, if I was upset, or if something bothered me, it went under the rug. And then eventually,
when it worked out, like,
yeah,
your training was the way that you practice escapism from a lot of these
and
things.
I would bury myself in, and I was known as the athlete in the gym that it was like, whatever shitty, gruesome, grindy, like nasty workout, I was the person that could go to that deep, dark place, sit and, flourish, rather than most people would be like, absolutely not. And so 100%, it's like, anybody listening to this, if you don't see a licensed therapist regularly, please, 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 please. Even if, it's like, if you're terrified to go sit in a room with somebody face to face, know that there are so many different, especially in 2022, 2023, there are so many online platforms. There's, like BetterHelp. I'm totally blanking on these right now, and I'm frustrated because I should have wrote this down. But there are so many online platforms that quite literally. Yeah, thank you. I was like, there's space. What is it? Space. So there's Talkspace, BetterHelp, but there's so many online platforms that you don't have to go to. You don't have to drive, sit in front of somebody. Like, literally, you can be in your pajamas, you can be in your underwear, talking to somebody. You can FaceTime, you can call. But truly, it's like, that was just something for me. I think, especially coming from the Midwest, where it's like, we don't talk about our feelings and there are no problems. Everything is, happy and nobody struggles, and we don't talk about it. That was huge for me to start unpacking. And so for so many people too, I actually was just thinking of our buddy from the Catherine that I actually miss a ton, but he would talk about, for him, going to therapy was kind of like if you just emptied out your head so that you could show up and just be your best, whatever it is you are, right? So for him, showing up and being the best employee he could be and the best significant other he could be. But it was almost just kind of like draining the bathtub, emptying out all those thoughts, all those feelings, processing anything that you might be harboring on. And it was life-changing for him when he started just, hey, every week I have a therapy session. And I go, and it's one of the best ways I spend my money. So many people don't realize, like, your insurance might cover it. And also, it's like, that's definitely something to look for is, hey, like when, open enrollment or whatever comes around, can I find a plan that covers therapy and stuff like that too? Because it can. Like, I remember in Austin, I called around and one place was like, yeah, so it's going to be $475 per appointment. And you're like, wait, what? Like, am I going to rob a bank to go to therapy? That's not going to work. So just know, it's like, it might be covered by your insurance. And if not, You can also find, they do like group therapy as an option to make things cheaper. For me personally, it's like I needed to unpack some heavy things
Mm-hmm.
that just
Mm-hmm.
needed to unpack. And so I knew like I needed one-on-one. But truly, it's like when we start working through those things, then we can, just go on and live life and show up as our best self and stuff like that. So if there's anything, like I said, it's like I'm such a big advocate for therapy. And I will give the disclaimer, you got to find the right one for you. So finding a therapist is like dating. It's like you you might not jive with them. You got to find the right personality. I know like recently the past year I ended up switching, and I like they just like weren't a fit. I was like, listen, I need someone that's like young and funny and we're going to have a good time. And I want you to like be having fun with me rather than like I'm in therapy with my 60-year-old mom or
I
something,
mean, Bob
right?
Ross? Somebody like Bob Ross?
Pain. But yeah, just know that it's like if you are someone, because this was also me where it was like, oh, like I went to therapy, I tried it, it's not for me. Like you can't pull that card until you've tried a couple therapists, until you have dated around and truly found a good one. Because once you do, again, it's like it's like finding the right significant other. If they're a good fit, y'all are able to vibe and stuff. That's where the magic happens. So I will kind of step off of that, but my biggest thing would just be one of the biggest markers and movers is going to be understanding that education and understanding more about nutrition, understanding more about fitness and training, understanding how our body responds to things. All of those things are going to then be empowering to you because, again, if you're coming from a place of fear of, oh, well, if I take time off the gym, or, oh, if I start taking more rest days, oh, well, the scale goes up and XYZ happens. It's like, again, we can just create so many narratives for ourselves that keep us truly from, from benefiting so much. So we are team rest days. And I will say too, it's like with Paragon workouts, that's a thing where it's like, we highly encourage it to try and be a non-negotiable if possible of like, hey, listen, 2 rest days.
Yeah, I was
and that
ask
doesn't
how many rest days you take. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say at least 1 to 2. And like it's okay to have seasons where you do the most, right? So it's like, especially when we were in marathon training, we would do like class workouts on Saturdays because we didn't get to see like a lot of our friends during the week and stuff like that. So it's like it's okay to have seasons where you do the most, and maybe you are working out 5 to 6 days a week. But also there needs to be equal seasons of not doing the least, but again, I think that's a really great rule of thumb is getting 1 to 2 rest days, giving your body that time and space to rest, relax, recover, because we have to sit back and enjoy the fruits of our labor, right? Like we can't just take. We have to give our body that time because it is, right? Like think about it from a work perspective. If your boss was like, hey, listen, I want you to work 7 days a week. And 4 or 5 months later, you're like throwing up the bird and being like, listen, I want a day off. I want to go see my friends, my family. I want to go do stuff. I need to run errands, whatever it is. It's like, you would never demand that from yourself in other arenas of our life. And yet I think we're just so strongly attached to these emotions of, I want to change my body, or I want to look a certain way, or I want this outcome so bad, whatever it may be, that we kind of throw out again the rules of it's like, well, we wouldn't drive a car on empty.
Yeah.
We wouldn't work 7 days a week for months on end, but we do it with the gym and fitness, right?
Yeah, I mean, or you could even, some people even just like, I just like to train. I enjoy training. I enjoy being in the gym. But I think that's where you said about the education piece being the important part, because if you understand that, yeah, you can enjoy training, you can train hard. I'm all about people training hard, but you definitely have to give your body space to recover, or it's like writing a sentence and not putting a period at the end of that sentence. And you have to have rest in order to make all those things come together. And that's how you progress, and that's how you get better. So I think once you understand that and recognize that, like, hey, like you probably perform better and nothing's going to fall apart if you take a rest day, then yeah, train hard and recover hard too.
And also the important thing there is it's like you are so good about your eating habits match the level of activity that you're doing. And that was the difference for me, right? Is it's like, well, I was doing the most and I wasn't eating the most. And it's like
Right.
eating more food, eating more carbs is a form of recovery. And again, like I zero for all of it. It's like I was doing the most, doing the least on my nutrition in terms of, but yeah, I was eating really high quality foods. It was all really dialed in, but I wasn't eating enough. I wasn't eating enough carbs and all that stuff. And that's something that you truly excel at is, well, yeah, you might train, you go to jujitsu 11 billion times a day, Oh, well.
I mean, basically.
Some days, actually.
If it was just me and Charlie hanging out, you would never see him because we would just be at the school all day.
Well, y'all would also be like broken and busted.
I mean, pretty much.
But, it's like you're going to jujitsu a lot. You're still strength training. At one time you were also like training for a half marathon, but you were also eating
I still took rest
appropriately.
days. Yeah. And I still took rest days. Yeah.